Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
Feels like it's been like 1,000 years.
Dude. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Welcome back, you filthy animal.
What the actual fuck? Yeah, dude, how you been? Happy New Year. Shit's shaping up to be wild 2025, but I'm here for it, man. It certainly is not stagnant any longer.
Yeah, no. I think the Hyperfy airdrop claim, whatever you want to call it, set the right tone. Dude, that's probably like the biggest news. So a whole bunch of the WIP Fam got huge wins, it looks like. It's fucking crazy.
Dude, it's fucking crazy, and damn, it feels good, dude. Like a lot of, let's flex for a minute, man. Like we were fucking early on Hyperfy, right? And like, made the call like a long ass time ago. Like probably, time is slipping a little bit from me, but I feel like it was about a year and a half, or maybe even longer ago, that we just decided to go for it and just start like just having a home base in the metaverse, and like looking at the landscape, we were like, let's just go with Hyperfy and see how it goes, and just sort of make it like a rolling experimentation. And we just sort of ended up leaning on it. And, by way of that came to know like Ash, and, obviously eventually like Jin got involved. But dude, we've been very consistently one of the, if not the biggest thing going on there, like from jump. And rightfully so, man. I feel like all of us believed in what Ash is building over there, and his sort of like ethos and the way he's incorporating like interoperable, assets and everything. And damn, dude, it feels, dude, this is one of these moments. It feels like when we had people minting chromie squiggles like back in the day or whatever. Like that we're that far out in shit. And even like beyond giving away a whole bunch of stuff, man, like we were like the de facto PR arm or a PR arm for Hyperfy for a long ass time now, just because we were constantly in there doing shit. So, hopefully by proxy of that, like other people, even if we didn't give away land, they, saw what we were doing, scooped up and managed to get in on this, like, on their own right and everything. And the other part is, man, like fucking eyeballs are on some fucking innovators out here who, man, stayed true to the course the whole time. The building out the same type of stuff that we've been passionate about, and it feels really good to see the community get a win, man. And that's what this feels like.
Yeah, no, this is one of the biggest community dubs in a while. And I was just trying to like synthesize thoughts on it, because it's like, yeah, it's cool that we gave away a bunch of Hyperfy land to the community, and like from that, folks that got like a fat 6-figure like gross win, right? We saw folks like Fly Frogs talk about, hey, they won the Hyperfy parcel from like a previous whip. They held, boom, they got like at peak hyper prices. It's like a 30K stimmy, boom, just like dropped in their wallet. It's crazy. But this isn't the first time this happened, to your point. Like you were talking about the beta squiggle mints that we did back in the day before art blocks even launched, that folks could then like claim their squiggles afterwards, and we all know what happened there. But also that same year we had Shane from Polymarket on in 2020. So like, again, we're giving people all this exposure to all these big things super early. You can say the same thing with like Baxi AXS token, early Matic token, Sand. Like, and we airdropped those things to folks when they were like worth pennies or like less than a penny, right? We did the same thing when we brought the Math Castle's Terraforms folks on when it was like 0.1 ETH. Same thing, Cypher dudes, when you brought them on before they sold out, and they've been kind of ripping ever since. It's not the first time, but the WIP is the best place to come to get exposure to all the potential upside of the future early before anyone else. And it's so fucking cool to see. And on top of that, to your point too, the fact that this is in our neck of the woods that we've been hanging out in for like 6 years at this point, the metaverse side, and hopefully that reignites some more interest there. And Ash is already incorporating some ELIZA agents into Hyperfy, which will be kind of dope if we could set up for the WIP tomorrow. But it's so cool to see, so stoked to see like Cheddar Queso, like obviously getting a nice stimmy, folks like Rustin with the Blockbuster build, getting paid for their passion projects that we've all been so passionate about, and kind of like putting sweat equity into, again, to your point, for specifically with Hyperfy, over 1.5 years. So it's one of the best community dubs I've seen in quite a while. It feels good.
Yeah, dude. It feels really fucking good. Hidden Forces had a great response to my post that sort of reframed a lot of the way I've like seen it, where like we're sort of like we've been giving people so much like early alpha that did, and nice job of flexing, man. That was like a great like rundown of a lot of shit that's like come through here, and really just scratching the surface, man. We could go on and on if we were to pull up the list of previous speakers that is out there somewhere that you've been compiling. But dude, Hidden Forces had a nice response that was like, something to the effect of like, we create the alpha, or we, make the alpha or whatever. And, it's a slight reframe, and, we can't pat ourselves on the back like completely for everything, but like, there's definitely some stuff that's come through here that we played a huge role in putting on the map, and, essentially became alpha by way of us helping to muscle that shit into existence and relevancy, and putting a spotlight on it so that other people can be exposed to some of the coolest shit out here. So, not that the entire world of Web3 revolves around us, but we've been pretty much like done a pretty good job of being at the nucleus of it consistently for a long time now, and this just is a nice underscore of that, right? Like it's nice to get on here and flex, but like if you've been paying attention and you see this shit and you know what we've been doing, like and that feels good.
Yeah, no, and now it's again like it'll be interesting to see what happens from this. Like, is building accelerated? Does this bring more, at least short-term, folks into these spaces? What happens on that front? Also, it's like, well, what's next, airdrop-wise? I know the behemoth
right
is the OpenSea, whatever they got up their sleeve event. So it's like, holy crap, like 2025 is about to get potentially insanely crazy, especially for our neck of the woods and the circles that we've been running in for the past like half decade or whatever.
Dude, I want to call back to a podcast that we dropped maybe like, I want to say it was in like September roughly or something like that, and I was like putting the call out. It might have even been the title of the podcast. I was like, someone give Jin just like $1 million and just let this dude just fucking do his thing. And it might have even been in the same podcast that I was like trying to channel like Jin and Ash like teaming up. I was like, I think I literally, and maybe that was already in the works like when I had said it, but I'm almost positive I made some comment like, these are the type of people who should be teaming up before it was even like publicly, in existence and everything. And I'm like, shit, dude, like, once again, the entire world doesn't revolve around us, but like, man, if I played any role in, and I don't know how much money fucking Jin's sitting on and everything, but I do know this dude has been out here not getting paid or not looking to get paid and just doing the thing that he believes in for a long time. And I'd like to think that he's financially free to do a lot of things that, he wants to continue doing as a result of all the stuff that he's been involved in over like the past few months. My assumption, without having talked to him directly, is that Jin's life has changed very, very significantly as of late, and hopefully it's all positive, man. I'm really happy that people like him and Ash are, man. These are the people that should have been propped up like last time around, and I'm like, dude, is it happening? That feels good.
Yeah, and I think plus one to all that. Like Jin finally getting monetarily paid for all the sweat equity and passion and time and fiddle and everything that he's put into the space up until now is, again, like this is what you absolutely love to see. And AI16Z, I think that was the big life-changing thing for him. And then on top of that, like the Hyperfy is just icing on the cake. That side of the equation. And I've seen him more in the timeline, and he's just like more who he's always been. He's focused on building crazy bleeding edge shit, blowing people's minds, and then documenting it extremely well along the way. And I'm just seeing more of it. And sometimes when folks get rich, like they turn into like, it seems like a totally different person. For a lot of other folks, when they get rich, they just become more of who they always have been. And it seems like for Jin, like that is like that latter case is what is happening. And it's, again, that's another thing that you absolutely love to see. And it just bodes so well for the metaverse side of things, in particular. And like the agents and the crypto and all the things that like we, like the WIP fam writ large, like have loved over the years. So this bodes well for us in terms of like in guaranteed entertainment value heading forward. If we had any doubts about, well, is this going to work? Is this sustainable? I don't know. This added at least like a half decade, if not more, to the runway of us kind of vibing out, having fun with friends on the internet, doing weird shit.
Yeah, dude. And the other thing I've been thinking about is, if there's anything I've learned, being, full in the tech space, which I was not prior to 5-6 years ago or whatever, that it's very difficult to get paid predictable income while also being on a bleeding edge of stuff and doing experimental things, because the good money is often not in very risky experimental things that don't have a clear path to like monetization. And that's like the kind of stuff that Jin's always been like very passionate about, and a lot of us have. And so when you're in that situation where you're essentially like really passionate about stuff that almost makes you unhireable, to be able to see someone be able to sort of self-fund and like self-monetize their passion and go a completely different route, and we've seen it happen before, but damn, dude, it's been a long time, and the landscape has changed significantly since 2021. And it's inspiring, man. Like, a lot of us are in the same boat where if you want to stay true to what you really love to do out here, you're going to have to find a way to carve a path for yourself, because no one's going to hire you for doing just crazy shit. But a lot of us feel compelled to do it, and that it's important, and it does push the tech forward. And it's hard to understate the win it is across the board in so many different ways. I'm having like a love fest here, man. Just let me fucking bro out on Jin for a minute here and Ash and this fucking moment, man. I feel like it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, and it's again confirmation that if you follow the real people, the real ones, right, who are super passionate about super specific things, who have the heart in the right place, right? Maybe they haven't got that win that you thought they would. Maybe it's been far too long, and you're like starting to sow some seeds of doubt there. Just keep going. Like, this is confirmation that if you bias for the right builders, right, like eventually at some point there's going to be a really, really positive event. Like, it doesn't always necessarily have to boil down to dollars and cents, but like in crypto, just more often than not, that is like how you get that return. And it's just confirmation of that. And like with A16Z, Hyperfy, we were in there early, like alongside with Jin, who's been bullish on Ash for a while. But with A16Z, like seeing that, like seeing Jin being there early, super present, it's like, oh shit, like Jin's there. He's a real one. And it's almost like shadow trading, copy trading based on his actual involvement. So again, it's just, if you're out there and you're thinking about like, what do you pick out of this crazy open sea of tokens and everything sloshing around? It's like, well, one heuristic you can use is, well, follow the good ones. What are the good ones getting involved in? And this is like case study par excellence.
Yeah. And dude, I feel like this industry is very much an anomaly in like, where do you really find a straight up community victory? Which, like, even beyond, like, you know, obviously part of this was you had to be holding something, which meant you might have to like spend money, and like, you know, there's some nuances to actually like, you know, making away with some of the but like, even beyond that, if you didn't make money off of this, it still is like a big community victory, man. And this is going to lead to like opportunities and better technology and really positive things for everyone who's involved in like pushing this tech forward. And you know, I'm sure like if you are in a company or like a, you know, a specific business or whatever, there's, you know, a sense of community victory if like the business does well, but it's sort of like, it's not sort of, it's a closed loop, and you got to be in the closed loop in order to experience that. And you know, this you know, is sort of like an amorphous victory across the board for a lot of people who have just been like, you know, out here, you know, independent creators. And you know, some people got the spillover financially, but if still, man, if you're in this like, you know, just having more attention, eyeballs, excitement, everything about the shit that we've been so passionate about for so long. I don't know, and maybe I'm just like, you know, in the fucking midst of the love fest or everything, but it feels like, you know, crypto and Web3 enables something along these lines that is almost impossible to replicate where just by anywhere else, just by nature of the way the blockchain works, you know, both with airdrop mechanisms, but also like, you know, moving forward, you know, that's how all this is maneuvered in terms of building relationships and alliances and everything. I don't know, man. It's just really wild.
Yeah, I mean, showing up is a public good, and crypto projects just tend to really reward folks who show up, especially the early ones.
There it is.
And then again, I want to double click into what you're saying, because I didn't get any spillover from this, but I'm still like, it's just fucking, it's a huge win for the whole WIP fam. We gave away all the Hyperfy parcels. I had a personal one, gave away like a couple 100 days ago, after we over committed to giving away Hyperfy parcels. It's all good, because again, there's other airdrops that I've got in the past personally that I know WIP fam didn't get just because I was doing things. You're the builder with the Hyperfy parcels. You've been doing that every effing week alongside folks like Metageist and Paradox. So I know also won from this. So boom, like totally justified. And the spillover effect will be real. Like we know that's how this thing works. Plus, like other things coming down the pipeline. So you don't have to directly benefit to, number one, feel stoked about this sort of shit. And then also, if you zoom out, you see how this all, it's this sort of rising tide lifts all boats effect I'm anticipating, especially when it comes to the metaverse and the WIP specifically. So it is it's going to be fun, and it's a win.
I can't think of a better scenario, man. Other than it being us and the WIP crew, and you know, this is literally next best thing, at least for me, man. I'm you know, just so excited that people who have stuck around that really have stayed true to like the, you know, early ethos of decentralization and interoperability are getting their time to shine. And yeah, man, I mean, that dude, that's a narrative that really got lost in the shuffle, at least in my experience, and got pushed to the wayside and sort of obfuscated and everything. And this just, again, man, if you subscribe to that theory and ethos, man, you know, Jin just lives and breathes that shit. And so, you know, you can't have a better representative, whether he wants to be or not. Him and Ash are out there now. And you know, I feel as confident as anyone that I know they live and breathe this shit. And yeah, man, to have the financial freedom to do the stuff that you live and breathe about in the first place, it's you love to see it, man. They're fucking great dudes.
Yeah, man. All right, so I think love fest, shield fest,
yeah,
like
it's a great love fest.
that solid love fest. We gave everyone their flowers. That was dope. But yeah, like looking forward, this is the beginning of 2025. We got a show coming up tomorrow. As always, building the plane in flight. Couldn't have it any other way. But like zooming out, looking at the rest of the year, like what are you thinking? What are you seeing? Like, what are you excited about? What do you want to manifest? Yeah, just being at the top of the year. Just curious if you sort of have reflected and tried to level set and trying to scope out what's to come.
I have, dude, a lot actually. You know, I was in Art Basel, and that was great from just running into a lot of people that I wanted to meet up with, perspective, and, you know, been in the kitchen cooking with some of them. And Rizzle Fest went really well, and that's led to like a lot of conversations about how that can potentially evolve. And I'm in the middle of cooking a lot of things, man, with a lot of like really cool people that I'm trying to pull through the WIP as well to talk about what they've been up to. And it's exciting, man. I'm interested. I'm very interested in doing some more in real life stuff. And I've sort of like formed this loose faction that we're calling like the Rizzle Fest Skunkworks, which is everything and nothing, man. You can be a part of it if you want. And tomorrow, you can be a part of it tomorrow and like not the next day kind of thing. But you know, I've been having like a lot of conversations with people going out to ETH Denver, people going to NFC Summit, and how to, you know, sort of incorporate some element of Rizzle Fest and a lot of the people and projects that I've been involved with to get out to these things and essentially do some WIP style stuff, like, you know, showcase cool stuff in real life in wacky, fun ways in the style that, you know, we do at the WIP, we did at Rizzle Fest. And, you know, I've learned that there is a strong appetite for that at a lot of these in real life events that have. I mean, you know how this goes, man. They've really become monotonous. Art Basel was sort of like a flop for me personally in terms of like finding really interesting stuff that I couldn't find like anywhere else. So I, you know, I've been able to put out this vibe that, you know, and I think it's true that between the WIP and Rizzle Fest and the squad that I'm able to tap into, we can do some really incredible shit. And so I'm cooking, man. I got a lot of people who are interested in coming out to some of these things and doing things. And I don't want to say too much until stuff is like solidified. But in the meantime, man, I've been with the Skunkworks and Trizlet specifically been working on just doing the absolute stupidest things we could think of with the technology and ruining social media a little bit, and you know, and I can get into that and Henry and all that shit, but sort of hit an inflection point where I'm like, now's the time to like get out and play, man. Like, we know all the people, we know all the tools, we have all the experience. It's okay for me to just get out there and do wild shit and be completely transparent that this is wild shit. And And it feels good to like get back into just being on the bleeding edge and doing crazy stuff for the sake of doing crazy stuff and seeing what happens. And that's how like a lot of us fell into it like really early on, because there was nothing to do but that. There's no money on the other side. So I don't know, man. I've been goofing around with Trizlet and AI frogs launching their own shit coins and introducing a love triangle to that on social media. And it's like actually become quite annoying because this frog is like harassing me and I don't want to block it because I'm the one who like helped set this fucking frog in motion. But also it's like a super fan of like all of us. It's so dumb, dude. I don't know, man. I feel like in a lot of ways I'm getting back to my roots of like really diving into some fascinating stuff that is really fun to tinker around with, and surrounding myself with like-minded people who are, sort of about that same shit. So join the Skunk Works. You're already a member. You just didn't know it, man. And we'll go do cool stuff together.
Let's go. Well, I mean, I've been pumping since Rizzle Fest, so like I feel like I've unofficially been a part of it from that angle. That's hilarious. That's awesome. I can't wait for it. It's funny. Like from last week, I see this. Like, huh?
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm curious to hear about your recalibration or anything, your insights, but I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, I was commenting. Like, I already started to see Henry the Frog or whatever's annoying ass in the timeline yesterday or last week. It's hilarious. And then you're like, what the fuck, Henry? It's kind of funny.
Dude, I wake up to like 7 comments from Henry on like old tweets of mine. And like, it's sort of like a difficulty once we've like set him in motion to like unwind it with current capabilities. So anyway, we're working on that, and instead of like reeling him in, I think we're just going to deploy another one to start arguing, something like that.
Oh, one sec, dude. Little WIP Baby just entered the room. 1 sec.
What up, WIP Baby? Shout out WIP Baby, born during a WIP in the middle of the night when we were doing WIP Asia back in who the fuck knows, 2021, maybe something like that. And if I remember correctly, it was the first WIP that Matt had ever missed, and we forgave him because he was having a baby, and that was it. He's missed like 1 or 2 since. We don't forgive him for those.
I'm back. Yeah, that was the first WIP that I ever missed.
Good shit.
Understandable.
We can edit that part out if you want. I just fucking around.
To be honest, I haven't had any like deep like thought into what this year will hold. It's mainly obviously looking out for the OpenSea airdrop to see how that impacts folks' situations. Just because that touches such a large number of people. I think that like what happened with Hyperfy is dope. Obviously much more limited array of individuals that benefit from that, but in a pretty deep way. I'm honestly just like open to more weird, probably anticipating quicker innovation for a lot of things, more experiments. So really keeping the eyes open to maintain that exposure to the latest and weirdest, to be honest. That's sort of my approach to 2025 heading forward. It's super loose, super open, but just ready for all the things, especially from like what we've been interested in recently, which is the AI side mixed with the metaverse side, mixed with like bleeding edge DeFi, crypto, that sort of thing. Super fast, super cheap, really accessible.
Yeah, dude, I feel like you've actually been on the same type of wavelength as I have in terms of getting yourself involved in more rapid experimentation and tinkering around with stuff that's really on the fringe and everything. And maybe you indirectly inspired me to, go more in that direction as well. I didn't really think about it until we were talking right this second, but it feels right, man. I feel like there's no, it very much feels like there's no rules anymore. And while that's not true at all, it does feel like the period of rapid experimentation is back, and it does feel fun and natural to lean into it. So yeah, man, keeping it loose in 2025 is sort of where I'm at too, and I dig it, man. It's all this tech is really, really fun, and it feels good to be out there having fun with it.
Yeah, I think that's again. If you don't have a thesis for the year, I think that's the approach to adopt. Just look to have fun and try to maximize having fun. I think we've come to that conclusion and talked through that multiple times throughout the years. And again, it's continued to serve us quite well. So optimizing for the fun, optimizing for the weird, and then just making sure that you're actually like going out and like at least thoughtfully kicking the tires initially on a lot of these projects ends up paying dividends longer term for the most part.
Hell yeah.
Boom.
Yo, good shit, dude. Nice to kick off 2025 on a positive note. It feels good.
Hell yeah. Shout out Brocock in the audience. Shout out Dragonite. Shout out the bots. We've had the Token Smart bots for a while. Boom. Good shit. Let's cut it here. Dude, let's hang on, chat some other stuff real quick. We can go from there. But see everyone in the metaverse tomorrow.